Every segment of our beef industry works hard to maintain a healthy herd, but the stocker segment is known specifically for its ability to manage stressed cattle. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more on the steps that one Texas operator takes to set his cattle up for success.
Wesley Wood knows that young growing calves can provide a challenge, something he's witnessed firsthand as a stocker operator in Texas. New cattle often arrive in a highly stressed state, so he takes special care to create a smooth transition period.
We buy about 7,000 to 10,000 head a year and buy them pretty much within a 150-mile radius of here in Stephenville. Once we get these cattle home, main thing is fresh hay and fresh water. Once we get these cattle started eating and drinking, then they go through our vaccine protocol.
Those early vaccines are critical because not only are calves dealing with stress, their immune systems are still developing. One of the biggest mistakes a stocker can make is to try and save money by scaling back on their herd health practices.
A lot of these cattle we get have not ever seen any vaccines. You're not doing the industry a favor by not giving them the proper vaccine protocol to set your cattle up for success. My vaccine program consists of Vista Once, Calvary 9, and Pink Eye Piligard. Our health has been phenomenal, but a lot that goes into that is getting the cattle vaccinated.
That first arrival, that entrance into the operation is a critical time in these calves' life. Since these calves are coming in from so many different locations, different distances of hauling, different backgrounds and so forth, there's a lot of stress that's just innate to this business. And the more that stocker operators can do to lower that stress, the better off the cattle are going to be.
The stressors that calves face while transitioning into a stocker system can increase the likelihood of bovine respiratory disease. BRD is common in beef cattle during the post-weaning phase, and an outbreak can be devastating for an operation. That's why it's important to maintain proper vaccination protocols.
Biggest concern is going to be bovine respiratory disease, the whole shipping fever complex. And it's just that, it's a complex. These cattle are coming in from such a wide variety of backgrounds, different exposures to pathogens, to food sources, so forth. That when they come together, they mix it all together. It's like sending a kid to preschool. There are great vaccines on the market that address the most common respiratory pathogens, viruses and bacteria, that's going to cause it. And getting those vaccines in early is important, but there's still going to be a few that get sick. And those need to be treated, and they need to be treated appropriately. And selecting the appropriate antibiotic at the early onset is very important. So working with the veterinarian to decide that is going to be critical. Sooner you can implement a treatment, the better off those calves are going to be from a welfare standpoint and from a performance standpoint.
Bringing home calves from the sale barn can also mean bringing home a load of animals in need of deworming. Lightweight stocker calves are more vulnerable to parasites because they haven't developed immunity. This can cause problems with weight gain and make them more susceptible to disease.
It reduces feed intake, and without proper nutrition and proper nutrient intake, they can't respond to disease very well. They can't respond to vaccines very well. Getting rid of as much of the internal parasite load as we can up front is going to be very critical to get them on feed, to get them drinking, to get them comfortable, and then allow them to respond to the vaccines.
Once they go through our chute, they get dewormed, and then everyone's on the level playing field. And we periodically pull fecal samples on these cattle after we've had them for a couple of weeks, just to make sure that we're clean and that our product is staying true to our program.
One tool that we have is, we call it FECART, which is fecal egg count reduction test. And with that, the way that works is on arrival, collect fecal samples, submit it to parasitologists, and do a fecal egg count to get an idea of what the parasite burden is in these calves as they're coming in. 14 days later, we get another sample from that same load and do a fecal egg count. And the goal is to get at least a 90% reduction in total number of eggs from the day of deworming to 2 weeks later to show that the deworming protocol we're using, the product's timing, is reducing that burden. Safeguard has several options that are non-handling approaches. So you can add it as mineral, you can have it in cubes, a lot of feed-through based Safeguard deworming that can be done without disrupting the calves, bringing them back into the chute, slowing them down. You can do a non-handling form of deworming at that phase and help further reduce that exposure to parasites as they go on.
For many stocker operations, vaccination and deworming is followed by adding a growth implant to the calf. This safe and profitable management tool can improve an animal's rate and efficiency of gain.
Keeping cattle healthy helps with gains, but there's other things that we can add to it that kind of click that along, and implants are one of them. Obviously, the better quality pasture, more gains you're going to naturally get, and we just kind of compound that with these implants. But poor quality roughage as well, if that's all you have, you still want to try to capture some of those gains. And some of these grass type implants like Revlor G do a really good job at adding pounds.
We're using Revlor G. I've used some other products, but the duration is what I really like. It don't cost much to do, and the return is exceptional.
Not only does Merck have the products to create a well-rounded herd health program, they also provide expert advice to ensure your cattle have everything they need to succeed.
I've got a really good rep, and if there's something wrong or I need something, he drops what he's doing, answers his phone, and comes running, and that's important to us.
Everything we're doing does impact the bottom line of the producer, but we're really doing it for the betterment of the cattle and the well-being of the cattle.
Producers are always looking for ways to increase the value of the calves they produce, and the right practices, including vaccinations, deworming, and implants, can go a long way toward improving your bottom line. Reporting from Texas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Now, for more information on this or any of Merck's full lineup of products, just visit their website, merckanimalhealth.com.